let me just start off with the basics of this again. So Tai Chi Chih is a very, very simplified, distilled version of the classical forms of Tai Chi. It's got 19 basic moves and one standing pose. Instead of the combination of what comes out to 128 moves typically in a classical Chinese approach or a Tai Chi approach. You can do it in the size of a yoga mat, so you'll see me just moving simply within this range here throughout the whole series, and each of the moves you can break up so that you can pick one that you happen to like that week and just do that one. If you don't feel like you quite got the other ones, then focus on that one and we'll gradually add them in. You'll find that you just get more proficient starting from the foundation of ones that you actually remember. So don't ever feel intimidated about feeling like you don't get the full set as we've been going to it. Today we're going to do 4 moves and then I'll show you the one standing pose at the end, and we'll just go into this very, very simplified and give you a chance to see how this goes. So the first move that we do in Tai Chi Chih is a very, very simple movement. It's called the rocking motion. And all of these motions start typically with a very kind of smooth kind of movement. And in this particular one, you start with a little bit of a stance of your foot out to the side. Now I'm going to need a little bit of chat feedback on this, because typically you're always stepping out to the left, but I think I've got my screen turned around so that you should see me stepping out mirror to you. So for example, can you just give me a feedback? Like if I step out to my left right now, is that your right foot that would have to follow me, like to mirror me as you go out? Does anybody have any comment on that? Yeah, just to put that into your chat window.
Yes.
Okay, so you're stepping out to the right. Okay, so I'm for some people give me feedback that this is difficult for their brains to process, but for the majority of people, it's much easier to follow if I am therefore going to step out to my right, but it's going to be your left, and that's what I want you to follow, the mirroring of exactly how I step, as if you're looking in the mirror. So that's how we're going to go, and then I will be sending out a video of myself doing this by email later probably tomorrow, and I'll make sure that it's reversed so that you're actually seeing my left stepping is your left stepping. So what we do is we do this first, sorry, I'm going to start way back just a little bit, which is instead of the movement, I want to show you the stance. So the stance is a very, very kind of simple standing pose with just a little bit of a sink of a lengthening through your lower back, just as if you were trying to find the top of a stool with your butt. So it's just a little bit of, you can kind of see this kind of motion happening with my pelvis. And in the fronts of your feet, hopefully you're going to be able to see this, my dark shoes against the rug. But what you're doing with your feet is you're standing just a little bit duck-footed. So your heels are just somewhat close together. They don't have to be touching. And your toes, instead of being straight forward, your toes are turning out just a little bit. So that's the kind of way of standing that we're going to be as our basic standing pose, is your feet slightly turned out and just a little bit of this kind of dropping in your pelvis and your lower back flattening a little bit. And you can see my legs just go into a slight bend with that as well. So out of that initial position, in your upper body, your resting position is always with your hands about here. Now, if you look sideways with my pelvis, you can see that my forearms are not parallel to the ground, but my hands are. So I'm coming down to a level where if I went any lower, it'd be hard for my hands to stay parallel. So it's kind of just as you get to that place where you would have to kind of start to get a bit of a strain in your wrists, you want to kind of feel as if you're pushing down on a soft, pillowy cloud like this. And just kind of get that sense of, that helps you drop your elbows, drop your shoulders, Just that kind of dropping right about there. And it'll be slightly different for each person, but it's kind of somewhere between the top part of my pelvis and your pubic bone, somewhere in that layer area is typically where that resting pose is going to go. So that's where we start from.